Now, it's easy going into the NBA draft and selecting a David Robinson or selecting a Tim Duncan or selecting a Victor Wembanyama because those guys are obvious NBA generational talents. But where it gets impressive at as a front office or as a general manager is when you can hit deep in the NBA draft on that overlooked talent. Get yourself a draft steal or get yourself a hitting gem in the draft. I'm sure there's no other feeling like that in the front office when you see that potential in somebody that nobody else seeing and it ends off paying out. And the San Antonio Spurs, they did such an incredible job at finding talent in the late rounds of the NBA draft that they built an NBA dynasty off doing so. And I know it might sound crazy, but the way that the San Antonio Spurs have drafted, they may have drafted so well that they may have drafted their way into another dynasty as well too. And I'm going to explain that to you guys as briefly as I can, because today we're going to be talking about Carter Bryant, how the San Antonio Spurs have possibly gotten another steal in this year's NBA draft, as Carter Bryant was the 14th overall pick. So just outside the NBA lottery, we're looking at how the San Antonio Spurs have drafted over these years, finding that talent late in the later stages of the NBA draft. When we look at Manu, who was a second-round draft pick, looking at Tony Parker, who was a late first-round draft pick. These are two guys who helped who came in, developed under the San Antonio Spurs, helped them win championships, but also built a Hall of Fame career for themselves. We look down the line a little bit longer down the line when they made the trade on the draft night to bring in Kawhi Leonard. That is another player that they really honed his basketball skills, helped him take his game to the next level, and now he's on pace to become a Hall of Famer as well. So those are three guys that they got in the later stages of the NBA draft, or some overlooked talent that nobody's seen them becoming the basketball players that they became. And then also, just on top of that, all the low-key moves that the San Antonio Spurs made, bringing in guys like Bruce Bowen, bringing in guys like Tiago Splinter and Boris Diaw, Danny Green. They just know how to get the eye on the right talent, and they know how to develop those skills, and they get all these amazing role players. And how the San Antonio Spurs, they're such amazing selection from talent has built over into their next dynasty, their new era of basketball. I want to go to their 2016 NBA draft, where they got their hands on Dejounte Murray late in the first round, because Dejounte Murray, he has been real valuable for the San Antonio Spurs, and he was valuable when he was, his last couple of years that he played for the Spurs. He played some really good basketball, but coming into the NBA, he was a real raw prospect, and he had to be developed. And I'm just saying this because it's pointing to this real good development plan that the San Antonio Spurs have. And we all know what it's due to. It's due to Coach Popovich having that system in play for all of these years, the same system in play, or the same coach, adapting to the game, but the system and the identity is staying the same. Coach Popovich is a basketball genius. They have another basketball genius in the organization, R.C. Buford, who has been with the team since the early 90s and became their general manager in 2002. He's the guy that's making the magic with all of these moves, building the team and selecting these draft picks. He plays a huge role in that. But what Dejounte Murray did for the San Antonio Spurs, he worked on his game really hard. He became a really good basketball player, an all-star caliber player. But the San Antonio Spurs knew that they were on the end of their last dynasty, where they went to the playoffs 22 straight years, on the back of Timmy Duncan. They knew that era was over and they were going to a new one. So they took this late first round draft pick in Dejounte Murray, built him up into an all-star player, and they were able to complete a trade for him that further helped the future of the team and significantly helped the San Antonio Spurs, because that following year, if I'm not mistaken, I want to say, if my memory jogs me correctly, the San Antonio Spurs, they went to the play-in tournament with Dejounte Murray that year, and I want to say they lost to the Pelicans, but they didn't get into the playoffs, but they got into the play-in tournament, and Dejounte Murray had a really good season, so they were able to package him to the Atlanta Hawks for 3 first-round draft picks and Danilo Gallinari. Now, this was huge for the San Antonio Spurs because they flipped their best player, Dejounte Murray, who wasn't quite a cornerstone guy, but at the time, it seemed like he could help a team win a championship. And we know the last couple of years haven't went Dejounte Murray's way, but that's how things were looking at the time. So what Dejounte Murray did is he sent the San Antonio Spurs into official rebuild, the first time that they've been, super bad and so long. But their first season after being super bad, they get the #1 pick in the NBA draft lottery, concluding that season, which we all know who that is Victor Wembanyama. And that same year, they also get Jeremy Sohan from that deal as well. And it doesn't stop there with Dejounte Murray. He also brought in the guy that we're going to be talking about today, Carter Bryant. That 14th pick belonged to the Atlanta Hawks in this year's draft, so it came over to the San Antonio Spurs from that deal. So now they have Carter Bryant, which is the guy we're going to be talking about today, the next potential steal for the San Antonio Spurs. And first things first, let's talk about what would make Carter Bryant a draft steal for the San Antonio Spurs. And we look at our definition for draft steal, we keep it very simple. It's when a player significantly outperforms the spot he was drafted in. So we look at Nikola Jokic being a second-round draft pick, or we look at some of the San Antonio Spurs that we already talked about, Kawhi Leonard, Tony Parker, Manu Ginóbili, them guys to go on and have them careers that they had, those are draft steals. So now the San Antonio Spurs, they have Carter Bryant to potentially make that next guy, make him the next Manu, make him the next Kawhi Leonard. And let's talk about why Carter Bryant was drafted 14th by the San Antonio Spurs and not drafted top 5 or top 10, because coming out of high school, he was a 5-star basketball player, but he went and played at the University of Arizona, one of the best basketball programs in the country, a pipeline to the NBA. So it was a really good team. He was coming into a really good basketball program, and as a freshman, it can be hard to, come in and crack a solidified role. So coming in as a true freshman, he was more of a role player, more of a 3-and-D type of guy. We didn't see him get too many opportunities with the basketball in his hand or be the focal point of the offense. So I think that was the reason why a lot of teams didn't want to take that chance on Carter Bryant, because they didn't get to see, the full package of him too much at the collegiate level. And so where a team like the San Antonio Spurs, whereas this is so enticing, we just said it a little bit ago, they're in their real situation with that De'Aaron Fox trade. And I still don't know how the Spurs pulled off that goddamn trade, but with that trade, they're now in a position where they're going to be able to compete at a really high level right now, and they're stacking up to compete at a really high level in the future. And it starts with getting picks like this with Carter Bryant, because like we said, coming into this situation, just like where he came in with the Arizona Wildcats, where he didn't have too much of a role, but in that limited role, he played some really good minutes. I think he's going to have that same opportunity this year in his early years with the San Antonio Spurs. So, just to lock that little bit of background out the way, and now we can look at Carter Bryant, the project player that he is. And even though he is a project player, believe it or not, there's already some things that he's really good at, some things that he's going to be really good at the NBA level. Now, I just watched his college. His college tape. It's just really cool YouTube channel. I think it's called No Ceilings. They got all the college players. They got like their offensive highlights, their playmaking, and their defense. So you get to see a little bit of everything. And, just like we said, Carter Bryant, he had a very limited role, but something that I seen that I like a lot. I like his jump shot a lot. It's a pretty jump shot if I ever seen one. A lot of arc on it, a lot of height on it. And he is 6'8" with about a 6'11", 7 feet wingspan. So being able to shoot the 3 ball with that size and length at the next level, that's going to be big time. And I also like the speed on this release as well. It was able to nullify the closeouts that was coming to him. So he has a really good looking jump shot. Took a lot of catch and shoot threes. A lot of them was all net, and a lot of them was with a closeout coming at him full speed. So I like that I seen that from Carter Bryant. So he does already have a really good form and a respectable jump shot. And then also he's supremely athletic, a hell of a finisher. Just as many catch and shoot threes I seen him get. I seen him get as many dunks off cuts and off in the fast break situation. But he's a timely cutter. He's also a really good dunker and a really good finisher in the dunker spot as well. So that's what I really seen from him on the offensive side of the ball. I also seen the ability, another thing that I think the San Antonio Spurs are going to like, his ability to pass. Now, I didn't see too much of it, but I thought the type of passes he made were the type of passes where you have to read, and react. Because we know at the collegiate level what make and break some teams and some players is a zone. Some guys just can't figure it out. But when I seen Carter Bryant, I seen him able to make passes, as the middle guy in the zone, and as a guy in the top of the key of the zone, passing over the zone. So I thought that was impressive as well at his size. And where his biggest mastery at right now as a basketball player is on the defensive side of the ball. He's already right now, he could be a defensive ace for an NBA team. He's that good on the defensive side of the ball. We talked about his size, 6'8" with a 7-foot wingspan, and he weighs 215 pounds. Now, when I put on his defensive tape, I seen him making plays all over the court. I seen him making plays as a point of attack on ball defender, as a weak side help defender, as a low post defender, guarding legit collegiate 7-foot, centers, getting stops, getting blocks. Hell of a shot blocker, some emphatic highlight level blocks. So his mastery right now is on the defensive side of the ball. So Carter Bryant, he gets to go to the San Antonio Spurs, literally one of the best development countries, basketball programs in the countries, and they love guys like Carter Bryant. Like, we look at the San Antonio Spurs, they've always had a good wing player, from Sean Elliott to Bruce Bowen to Kawhi Leonard. Now they have Carter Bryant, who fits that same mold, 6'7", 6'8", tremendous wingspan, and he can shoot threes and defend. Now they're going to continue to hone them other skills. So he could be a very dangerous player for the San Antonio Spurs, and add to that collection of draft steals that they already have. That list is just so long. But that's what I want to talk about with you guys today. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, comment down below if you agree or disagree, and then subscribe for more weekly content. We do this all, we do this all the time, man, and that's curtains.